Hello again, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. I've been asked several times already why I have different eBay accounts instead of just using one account. The first thing people talk about is do you have to log in and out of each account to view your sales? I do. I don't have any software that lets me view all of them in one go. And more importantly though, the reason why I have 6 different accounts is firstly, eBay allows you to do it. Back in the selling limit days, you still have selling limits when you're new. They would say if you want, you can create several accounts to have more selling limits. But the reason why I do it is because on principle, I believe that if you're selling a high-end handbag, you really shouldn't be putting it next to used sneakers or next to a lunchbox next to a vintage toy. And that's what a buyer will see when they go to your store and see what other items you have for sale. That's what that strolling experience would look like. Let me ask you a question. When you go to buy a car, it doesn't have to be an expensive car. Let's just say you're looking to buy a new Toyota. If you go to the Toyota dealership and you see the car next to every other Toyota in a nice dealership, versus if you go see that same Toyota, and by same I mean literally the same Toyota, condition, age, all that, right? You take that car, you plonk it in a used car yard with a little shed in the corner where the salespeople go to do paperwork. Which car are you more likely to pay more money for? That's the first question. The second question is, which yard are you going to go to first? The third question then is, once you're there, assuming you give both of them the same chance of being sold to you, what questions are you going to ask when you get there? I know the first answer is pretty obvious, right? You'll pay more at the actual dealership because you feel you're getting more support, you feel like you're getting more after-sales service. Even if you never utilize any of those services, any of that post-purchase stuff, the fact that you know or you believe you know that you'll get that already influences your buying decision and the amount that you're willing to pay. If you go to a used car yard, you know that once you sign the paperwork, you drive the car off the lot, they're done with you. They'll never speak to you again. They'll swear you off the lot the next time you come back on, right? I've had that experience. The second thing is what's the second one? You'll go to the dealership first. You're not going to go to the used car yard first. Dealership first. And then the third one is about what questions you're going to ask. Now, I know what you're going to say, who asks questions on eBay? Isn't it you just see the item, you read the description, you look at photos, buy, you don't buy, whatever. Well, if you have a specialist store, you'll get questions like, I'm looking for this item but in a different size. Do you have it in stock? Or I'm looking for this item and this other item. Do you have it? Maybe you haven't listed it yet. I'm looking for this item by this date. If you happen to get it, will you please let me know? Those are questions that never get asked of a generalist store. They just don't, because there isn't an expectation that those questions will produce answers. So for those reasons alone, and there are many more, but for those 3 main reasons, I have 3 separate accounts. Because I believe that I can't, and it's 3 separate accounts, not just like a toy account. I have 4 toy accounts, one for trains, one for cars, one for dolls, one for collectibles and comic books. Because the buyer for the comic book and the figurines are not going to be the same buyer for the dolls or the cars and the trains. So when those buyers come to my store, I want them to feel like they're shopping in a physical store. Because here's the thing, if you buy a bunch of general items and you chuck them in a store online where the buyer cannot feel the item, touch the item, they cannot, they can't smell the item. Smell's important. Let's not underestimate smell. They cannot talk to anybody that they believe is a real person. How do we expect them to spend the money that they would spend, like retail or higher, in a physical store online? They might if they feel that they cannot find the item elsewhere, but for the most part, they're just going to go, I'll try and find it in real life first. Or unless they're convinced that the experience doesn't make a difference. Especially if you sell second-hand items, all the more the experience makes a difference because condition is so subjective once it becomes second-hand. So when someone finds you for the first time and gives you a chance and they buy an item, don't you want them to come back? Don't you want them to then go, this is the place where I come to for this particular niche of item? I do. And I definitely see a lot more of my sales come from repeat buyers than first-time buyers. And part of that conversion from first time to repeat is that buyer experience where they come to your store and they go, I'm lying in bed and I'm just scrolling. And I find myself enjoying this scrolling experience because I'm looking at all these items that are of interest to me, and I'm just making a mental list going, yep, he has this, he has this, he has this, he has this. Oh, my sister might like this, my son might like this, my daughter might like this. That doesn't happen if it's a generalist store. I definitely don't expect people to keep scrolling through thousands of listings in a generalist store, because that's just like, what are you looking for at that point, right? I definitely don't expect people to search within a generalist store for an item other than the item that they bought. Because if, let's say, I buy a pair of sneakers from a seller that has 5,000 listings of just general, like, thrifted listings, right? And I go, I'm looking for basketball jerseys. I go to a store, I type basketball jersey, nothing shows up. Okay, fine. Well, all basketball things are basketball shoe, basketball. Like, I'm just like hacking with searches to try and narrow the search because I can't be stuffed going through 5,000. Fine, I can click on category, but it's like, it's effort just to. Whereas if you go to a specialist store, I'm used to buying Hot Wheels, Honda. I go there, I type Honda S2000. Then the results go from 3,000 straight to 4. That's a good experience. Or if I go Hot Wheels green, because I was looking for green cars, right? Suddenly my search is just a bunch of green cars, and I'm just scrolling green cars because I like to look at green cars. So the buyer experience leads to questions. Those questions lead to more buyer retention, leads to more money being made, and more assured money being made, right? It's like you almost know that the sale is going to happen if they ask for an item and then you list the item because they just like buying from you and they have a good experience with you anyways. Now, so that's the making money side. Then there's the defense side of things, which is scammers are on eBay. We know that. eBay have already maintained that because they can't tell what you do as a seller and what the buyer does, because they don't see either side of the transaction. Usually when a buyer complains, eBay sides with the buyer, right? Sellers don't like that. But as a matter of fact, eBay doesn't know what you've done either, right? You both could be lying. In which case, if both people are lying, true or not, eBay will side with the buyer because eBay needs buyers to buy items for eBay to keep growing. I'm fine with that. Fine with that. Not going to talk about that in this video. As a specialist store, scammers are more likely to leave you alone. Purely because you convey that you know what you're doing, and it's just going to be harder to scam. Because the fact is, they know that if they say the item doesn't work, eBay goes, buy, open a case, you go, yeah, of course it works. We sell this many items of this item every single month. We test every single one of them. Why would I not test just one? Or, and you can sometimes even point to like a period of time. You can go, this item was listed at the same time as all these items. All of them, most of them have already sold, all working. We tested them in the same batch. So in that case, eBay will side with the buyer if the buyer makes eBay's life hard, but eBay won't take it out of your pocket. So that's one thing. But for the most part, scammers look for generalist sellers because there's a good chance they may not test something. There's a good chance they may not notice a defect. There's a good chance that even if they did notice a defect, they would not know what to do with it. There's also a good chance that if the scammer opens a case, the seller will get thrown by the fact that the case is open and they just wouldn't know what to do. They might miss a deadline and not respond or whatever it might be, right? So specialty conveys experience, is a good defense against scammers. I rarely get them, which is fantastic. So for those reasons, I have 6 stores. And if I ever go into a new category, I'll open another one. The benefits significantly outweigh the hassle of logging in and out. Just make it habitual. Like every hour or so, I'll just log in and out each one just to see how it's going. Send offers. And does it become less overwhelming? Yes, when I pack the orders. And the reason is because whenever I choose a new category, I'm generally thinking about how can I sell this new item but pack it the same way. So when it comes time to actually retrieve all the orders, we print our labels according to the store. That way we're logged into one store, packing all the orders for one store, then logging out, packing the orders for the next store. But all those orders get packed the same way. They all fit into fixed rate satchels or boxes anyways. So in a sense, from our fulfillment point of view, it's actually pretty streamlined. It's really just the buyer experience that is the focus. That's why the 6 accounts make sense. Maybe in the next time I get asked this question, it'll be 7 accounts. maybe it'll be 20, who knows? Maybe it's not necessary altogether, right? I mean, there's only so much you can handle as a business before you run out of staff to do things. So yeah, that's the explanation for why I have 6 accounts and why you should consider it too. If you're at that generalist kind of hobby level and you're thinking about, specializing because you've already figured out that there are some things you like selling more than others. I'd love to hear your comments and further this discussion in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.